Well, to go with our authentic German meal today, I think we would complement it with an ice cold beer. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Unfortunately, I'm not very knowledgeable about beer.
Not me either. I think we need a lesson.
I think we're going to take a field trip. We're going to go right to the source. We're going to go to Urban Legends. Welcome to Tom's Table. So, today's menu, Wiener Schnitzel. I was lucky enough to have some culinary training in Vienna, Austria. And that's where Wiener Schnitzel was birthed, if you will. And I mean, it's a huge, like we have our McDonald's, we have our Burger Kings, we have our fast food places that we can go into and eat. Well, in Austria, they have these fast food places that are Wiener Schnitzel. And I still remember to this day, it was Wiener Schnitzel, but 50 cents for ketchup. You know, ketchup, 50 cents, and that, I don't know, it was 10 years ago, but it still comes to my mind. So, Wiener Schnitzel, very cheap. We don't have to use veal. I mean, true Wiener Schnitzel with veal, yes. But a slice of pork, it's going to come out just as good, and it's $1 for a slice of Wiener Schnitzel. Along with that, we're going to make my mom's homemade German potato salad that I grew up on. Wonderful thing. We serve it warm or we serve it at room temperature. Great dish to accompany the schnitzel. And red cabbage, braised red cabbage, right there. I mean, it reminds me of my old 16-inch days, you know. But once again, a very fine meal and a very fine dish, and we'll be able to serve that really cheap, and we'll show you how to make all these things. For dessert, standard, classic, creme brulee. I'm surprised we entertain a lot, and we're actually surprised at how many times our guests have never had creme brulee. I thought that everybody in the world had had creme brulee, but obviously not. Producer Lou was talking about how when they went on a Disney World trip, how their daughter was on a creme brulee quest, if you will. And she was getting bad creme brulee, and I can't even fathom that. So we'll show you how to make it. And I tested one already, so I know it's coming out good. So we'll start with the red cabbage, because that takes the longest. We're going to take our bacon and go over here and start rendering it. All right, very hot pan. We'll get our bacon in there and render all the fat out of it. What's the saying? It's always better with bacon. So we got bacon in our red cabbage, and we have bacon in our German potato salad. So it's going to be a good day. So we'll render that. While that renders, we're going to come back over and we'll slice up some onion and we'll slice up some red cabbage. Not a whole lot of elements in this dish. We got some red wine, we got some chicken stock, cinnamon sticks. I'll show you as we go. So first, we're going to take our red cabbage and slice it down. We're going to cut it into fine shreds. Okay, let's get that root out of there and end off. Braised red cabbage, that's going to take us about a half hour to 40 minutes to cook. A nice accompaniment with the schnitzel. Some of the more famous places that have served Wiener Schnitzel, certainly the Berghof downtown, where schnitzel was always served with a nice ice cold beer. And actually I looked at the Berghoff's got a really nice cookbook out, and they serve their Wiener Schnitzel with German potato salad as well. So nice, right? All right, so we got our red cabbage all sliced nice and fine here. That bacon is still rendering nicely. We're going to use the fat that comes out of that bacon to saute our onions in, which is add some nice flavor to that. So back over here, we'll slice up an onion. Just one onion, be fine. Put on my eyes for this. Kind of a fine dice on the onion. And actually this, we finish off this red cabbage with some apple cider vinegar, some diced apples, and some brown sugar, which gives it some nice acidic things along with some sweetness. It's really got a nice finish to it. This is going to take about 40 minutes to cook. Freezes very well. Good leftover. I mean, this is really one of the Austrian dishes that just, you can't beat it, really. We'll show you. We're going to have, I have a friend of mine coming over. He's a big German guy, and he said all he had was breakfast today. So we'll see if our schnitzel is up to snuff with a big German man. So. We're here with Dan Rosenberg of Urban Legends in Westmont, and it's kind of a hidden away little treasure that we were lucky enough to find, and this is called Beer 101. We're not going to pretend to know anything about beer. Absolutely. So we're going to ask you to explain the operations in a nutshell. I mean, Impossible is probably like trying to explain the Bible in 15 minutes or so, but we want to get a basic idea about how beer is made, how it's brewed, and the different types, and we're going to go to their source. Sure. Yeah. So, where do we begin?
All right. So, typically start off with malted grain of some sort, but like any fermented beverage, it's just a sugar source. They malt the grain when the starches are at their peak in the grain itself. So we get the most sugar per grain. If you let it go a little bit longer, the seed sprouts, it starts eating that sugar, then it's all gone. But malted grain, it's different. So most beer's done with wheat, barley. Sometimes you'll do oats. Sometimes there's a little bit of corn in there. Sure. You'll get into like rice lagers and stuff like that as well. But once all the malting's been taken care of and all the sugar's been set at its peak point, we then get the grain here. It gets roasted at some point or another, depending on what you're trying to get out of the grain. There will be caramelized malts, there will be chocolate malts, coffee malts. Wow. All those different malts will pull those different flavors out of it. It's really strange, but you can actually get a coffee or a chocolate flavor out of barley. Wow. Yeah. And your possibilities are kind of endless with that, yeah?
Much, yeah. Every year it seems like some crazy new malt or hop comes out that we didn't think was possible. Like just this last year, we started seeing some malt from down in Patagonia, and crazy stuff we've never seen before.
Okay, so Urban Legends. Mm-hmm. What about that name? And I notice each of your beers has a different name too. Where does that inspiration?
Absolutely. So we really like going through and digging up old myths. I mean, you can really get yourself into a Wikipedia rabbit hole on some of this stuff. It's a ton of fun, and you'll all of a sudden look up and you've wasted about 5 hours or so on
right.
But so it kind of came from that. We really enjoyed all these myths, and we started wanting to name the beers after.
Very cool. Very cool.
What are some of the beers that you're working on right now that you're actually serving?
Yep. So as far as right now, what we're working on, I've got the Creature, which is our black IPA. It's named after, Creature of the Black Lagoon, obviously. We've also got one called Cooper's Parachute. The older people in the audience, they'll definitely remember DB Cooper jumping out of, I think it was a 727 with a suitcase full of money. Never happened or never showed up again.
So there you go.
Yeah, I've got Nessie's Gnarly Nectar, named after a Loch Ness monster, because it's a Scottish 80 shilling. We always try and pull something from the region that the beer's from. So like Nessie's Gnarly Nectar is a Scottish. So Hassenfuss, which is our cream ale, and
I like the name of that one.
Yep, and Catherine, and then Catherine the Great, which is our Imperial IPA, and You Big Dummy, which is our Imperial Red Ale. Those ones we tend to have year round, but then seasonal stuff we tend to rotate through pretty regularly.
Now you had those like those 5 from the start.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think Creature came on a little bit later, but it was such a big seller early on that we decided to keep it.
And you can't not keep it, right?
Exactly. I can't brew that beer fast enough.
Ah, wow. Now you selling locally around here?
Yep.
I mean, I see a bunch of stores around here that carry your brands and stuff like that, and and that's growing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we distribute through Chicago and all the surrounding county areas. We're in pretty much any liquor store that has a decent bottle selection. You can usually find us, and a good number of bars too.
Yeah.
Usually, we have the mainline stuff in bottles. The specialty one-off stuff you can usually only find on tap.
Okay. All right, we've got our bacon rendering. We're going to add our onions to cook in that bacon fat. About 5 minutes till they get nice and soft. Okay. See, now we've got 2 layers of flavor already in our red cabbage. And then we're going to add some chicken stock, some cinnamon sticks, and some red wine. First, we got to let these onions saute for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to add our red cabbage and saute that for another 5. So, all right, we've got 5 minutes. Our onions have softened up a bit. Let's add our red cabbage. This is going to cook down into a nice, so don't worry about it overfilling a bowl. Okay. Okay, so excuse me there. All right, we're going to let that just saute for about 5 minutes. To that, we'll add some pepper and some salt. Always season well. Let it get down in the bacon fat in there. All right, so we've got our red cabbage sauteing here. Got it all nice and wet with the bacon grease. And now we've got 8 ounces of chicken stock. We'll add. I got 3 cinnamon sticks and about 8 ounces of red wine. Okay. The nice thing about this dish is we've just added a whole bunch of flavor in here. We're going to put the lid on and we'll see in about a half an hour. Okay, so Wiener Schnitzel, pounded out piece of pork. One thing I do with this is, with my Wiener Schnitzels, I like the panko, I like the crispiness of a panko breadcrumb, but sometimes find that the panko crumbs are a little bit too large. So what I do is I take those panko breadcrumbs and I put them in a bag and I roll them out to make them nice and fine. So you're still going to get your really crispy Wiener Schnitzel with that panko breadcrumb, but you just have to do a little trial and error, dude, trial and error, and that's the way I cook a lot of times. So I think I've upgraded my Wiener Schnitzel from the standard procedure. So, okay, here we go. I've got my pork. The market had these on sale for $1, 3 pork chops for $3. So there you go. That is going to be 1 serving of Wiener Schnitzel. And here it is. See how I have it pounded out already, nice and thin. And I mean, you put that on a plate, that's a nice serving right there. And we're going to top that with a little lemon and a pickle, is how we're going to finish it, just like they did at the Berghoff restaurant in Chicago. All right, so I'm going to show you, I've got these pounded out, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to take a 99-cent pork chop and pound it into the cutlet you need for Wiener Schnitzel. So yeah, basically you're pounding from the center out. And if you had, this serves two purposes actually. Did the boss say something that you didn't like today? Right there. Did you get stuck? Somebody cut you off in traffic? Right there. So it serves two purposes, being able to make Wiener Schnitzel. You get rid of a little aggression and you make a nice meal out of it. So okay, so there you go. Nice thin medallion, okay? Nice thin cutlet. Look at that. Key to a good Wiener Schnitzel is to get that nice crisp crust, and the key to keeping that on there is to let your cutlet rest for about 15 to 20 minutes after we bread them. So it's the standard breading procedure. We've got our flour, we've got our egg with 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of milk, and we've got our panko breadcrumbs that I've crushed to make them real fine. That's the key to a good Wiener Schnitzel, okay? So we've got our flour. Generously salt and pepper the flour. Okay? Get that flour nice and seasoned. Okay. Now, standard breading procedure, use one hand. That way you've always got one that's still good. So, okay, I'm going to take my cutlet. I'm going to dredge it lightly in the flour. Okay? Go right to the egg wash. Coat that very well. Let the excess drip off right into the breadcrumbs, okay? Always using one hand. Get a nice coating on there. The reason we do it this way is that you go from flour to your egg wash, it just adheres better. I mean, everything is just, look at this, like doing my socks in the laundry right here, right? Okay, now you go right there, and it just sticks very well. Here I am using the 2 hands, but whatever, dude, right? You work with what you got. All right. So there's another one. Now the key is we're going to let these sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. And that's going to make sure that these crusts stay nice and tight. So the Austrians really know how to eat. And what would they serve it with? Maybe some rye bread, a good German beer. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to cook over there and take some culinary classes over there. And I tell you what, it's a different culture. And you learn a few things that you don't know from around here. And I've brought some of those techniques and information back home with me. All right, we're on our last cutlet here. And then we'll move on to our German potato salad. We've got our red cabbage braising. We still probably got 20 minutes on that. Okay, we make room here. Let our cutlets sit. Okay, we're going to take a break here for just a minute.
Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today.
This is the land of sky blue waters, land of cool enchantment. Listen. From the land of sky blue waters, from the land of pines, lofty balsams, comes the very refreshing, hams the very refreshing. Hams. Yes, from the land of sky blue waters to you comes Hams, the beer refreshing as the crisp, cool land it's brewed in. The beer that captures for you the wonderful refreshment of this enchanted Northland. Hams. Mmm. Hams. Crisp. Clean cut to the taste. Refreshing.
Hints of lakes and sunset breezes dance and sparkle in each glassful. Hams are beer refreshing. Hams are beer refreshing. Hams.
Refreshingly yours from the land of sky blue waters.
All right, the next part of our meal, the German potato salad. My mom's been gone 20 years, but the memory of her potato salad lingers to this very day. So, red potatoes, bacon, eggs, green onions. That's it, salt and pepper. And we make we bind it all together. We've got, in this jar, I've got 3/4 cup of water, 1/3 cup of vinegar, 3 tablespoons of sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. We're gonna heat this, and that's gonna be that brings it all together. That brings all these flavors together. You get the sweetness from the sugar, and the vinegar gives it that bite, and it's a really good potato salad. So let's, these potato baby reds are better if you cook them and then cool them. They're easier to cut that way. They don't fall apart. This is your German potato salad is a dish that's best served heated or at room temperature, okay? So, yeah, can you eat it cold? Sure, you can, but room temperature, it just seems to bring out the flavors a little bit more, okay? So, this was about 4 pounds of potatoes. Like I said, 99 cents. How can you go wrong? Cut them nice and thin. Okay. I probably make this German potato salad 3 or 4 times a year. I mean, it doesn't, it just calls out to be made every time I've got I like regular potato salad too, but this one just has a special place in my heart. So, okay. A couple more potatoes here. All right. All right, that's good. So that's all our potatoes. All right. I'm going to take this over to the stove and get it heating up here. Always add cornstarch to a cold liquid. Never add cornstarch to anything hot. That's just a rule of thumb that everybody should know. So what we've got here is our mixture. I smell the vinegar right away as soon as this gets heated up. As soon as cornstarch comes to a boil, that's when it's thickening. That's when it thickens. You see when I put it in there, it's milky white. As this thickens, it will turn clear, and it will get kind of gelatinous, and that's exactly the process we want to happen. So once that comes to a boil, we're going to pour it over our potato. So we'll just take our green onions, boom, right into the potato salad. Okay? That's some bacon that I've rendered. Another element right there. Okay? Eggs. Got my handy little egg slicer. Okay? Sometimes these gadgets are worth go ahead and buying. Does it save you a few steps? Absolutely it does. So, all right, let's slice some egg. I actually like to do it twice. Okay? Toss it right in. I use 5 eggs. You can use however many you want. See, when you're nice and mise en place, how easy cooking is? When you got everything all ready for you, only got to chop a few things, all the elements are together. Cooking comes very easily when you're mise en place. So let's remember that word. I know I dwelled on that. Dwelled on that? I was one to dwell on that before, but it makes your cooking so much easier. And now all we have to do is add our glaze that we're making. So you'll see our glaze. Look at that. Come to a boil, got clear, and it got thick. So now this is what we want to, this is the finishing touch for our potato salad. So let's go back over there and add this to the potatoes. All right, there's all our elements in there. Add a little of that. And let's stir. Oh man, does that smell good. Wow. And let's not forget to season everything very well. How about a little pepper? A little pepper. And some salt. Okay. Mix it all together. Just get it wet from the initial, and let's put the rest of it in. Okay. Nice. So now, this is set. This is done. This can sit at room temperature now till we finish our schnitzel. And it'll just, it's going to give these flavors a chance to meld and come together a little bit. So tell me that doesn't look good right now. So yeah. Okay, German potato salad, the way my ma used to make it. There you go. See you in about 20 minutes when it's time to eat it.
So this first one I brought out is the Creature. This is our black IPA. This one is by far our best seller. I can't make this one fast enough.
Right.
You know, my distributor would absolutely love if I filled all my tanks with Creature.
Really?
Yep.
Now, how long does it take to brew this?
So this one usually takes about, about 22 days or so.
22 days,
tanks.
okay.
Yeah. So it's a relatively quick turnaround. The actual, brewing itself, the fermentation process is probably only about 14 days, but with an IPA like this, we like to dry hop it, gives it a lot more of that hop aroma in there. Okay. So that's an extra, 10 days or so in the tank.
Okay.
So go ahead and give it a taste.
Well, it's no wonder that's a winner. That's great. Yeah, it's no wonder that's a winner.
Yeah, so it's, the black IPA is a relatively new style in, the grand scheme of things. It's
Why?
It was an American style that was, all those homebrewers who were doing all that crazy stuff back in the 70s and 80s. Sure. They did all their experimentation and came up with it. So it's such a new style that they actually don't have a category for it in most competitions. Most competitions are done by BJCP guidelines. It's a certified beer judge program. So whenever we enter a black IPA in a contest, we have to enter it in as a Cascadian Dark Ale, which is a really old, almost extinct style of beer that just happens to be closest.
All right, IPA. Explain IPA.
So an IPA is an India Pale Ale. Now, as you can see, this is a black IPA. India Pale Ales are typically, mid-alcohol content, decent malt character, but what really comes out in the IPA is the hops. Now, the reason the hops come out in an IPA is it was traditionally a beer that was brewed in England so that it could be shipped from England to India, to the soldiers and, the Marines and all the merchants that were over there back when it was a British colony. In order to do that, that beer would be sitting on a ship going all the way from England to India for anywhere from 2 to 6 months, depending on how many stops.
And it could spoil, right?
It could spoil. Now, the reason we add hops in a beer, the reason that's the spice of choice, is because hops are also a natural preservative. They would hop the ever-living hell out of this beer so that it would last that whole trip. Then the locals started drinking it. They started liking that hop flavor, started drinking more and more of it.
See, that makes total sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, that makes total sense.
Yep. So then with the black IPA, we take a, pretty traditional regular IPA recipe, but we start adding those dark malts to it, so it gives it more of a cool malt character to play off of those hops. So those hops you'll get in the aroma and in the flavor, you'll get, in this one in particular, we've got a lot of citrus notes in it, but on the back end of it, and while it's on your palate, you'll get chocolate, coffee, a little bit of roasted flavor as well. So it just adds another layer of complexity to a beer that's already pretty complex.
All right, we've got our red cabbage has been braising for about 20 to 25 minutes. I can tell that it's tender. It's cooked all the way through. There's no crunch to it anymore. So that means we're ready for our final 3 elements, and then it will braise a little bit more, and then we're done. All we have to do is cook our schnitzel, and our Oktoberfest is ready. So, diced apple. 2 apples, okay? Right in. We're going to let those braise with the red cabbage. Those went flying. 2 ounces of cider vinegar, apple cider vinegar. Okay? More flavor. And then 1 ounce of plain old brown sugar. Okay? We're going to add these elements. Mix it all up. Now that's going to continue to cook for another 10-15 minutes, because those apples have to cook and get nice and soft. And then we're done with that. We take our cinnamon sticks out and we're good to go. Okay, so moving right along with the Oktoberfest. Looking good, dudes. Looking good. All right, take 5 here.
So you started with cabbage and you're mixing in apples and apple cider. It just doesn't seem like it would be the right mix. What about that?
Well, and that's all about layering flavors. And that's what cooking is really all about. I mean, starting with one ingredient and just the addition of ingredients enhance everything. I mean, you can take something that's very bland, and by layering flavors through stages of cooking, that will just make the finished product that much better. So yeah, I'm a big fan of layering flavors, and we'll expound on that on just about every episode. So yeah, you'll see that a lot in our cooking. All right, vanilla beans. A lot of people make creme brulee and they don't use vanilla bean. They will just use like a vanilla extract or something like that. I just like the taste and the pods. Each vanilla bean has like 1 million pods inside, and you'll see what I do with this. I'll take my vanilla bean, I cut it in half, and I cut it in half long ways. Okay? Do the same thing with the other one. Okay? Now, to that, I will put it in the heavy cream. Okay, 3 cups of heavy cream along with the vanilla bean, and we're going to add 6 egg yolks. That's it. We're going to bake it in a water bath, and it'll be the best tasting dessert you ever had. All right, we're taking our heavy cream and our vanilla beans. Okay, we're going to add them to that. Okay, now we're going to let that cream get just to boiling, and we got our vanilla beans in there steeping in the liquid. And once those vanilla beans have steeped in there and the cream is just about to come to a boil, we'll take the beans out, we'll take the vanilla beans out, and as we've sliced them there, we'll scrape out the pods and enter them back into the cream. And to that, we'll temper with our 6 egg yolks. We put them in little ramekins. Again, we cook them in a water bath, and wow. Okay, so let's head back over to the egg table. All right, 6 eggs, separated. We just want the yolks, okay? So you don't need one of those big separators either. Just do it by hand. Get your egg yolk out. Okay, 1. You know, and don't throw away your egg whites here. You can make an awesome meringue with these. You just have to be very careful. If you would dribble one spot of egg yolk into this mixture, you could not make a meringue. 1 more. Okay. half a cup of sugar, okay? Mix it up real nice. Nice. So once our cream and vanilla beans get up to get hot enough, and I think they are, I'll show you what we do next. So I'm going to save those egg whites and make some meringue cookies with that. When you're cooking, always work neat. Always keep a clean work area. It makes you feel better as a chef. I don't know, I've always found that, and that's kind of one thing they stressed in cooking school was to work neat, you know, leave yourself a nice area. So, all right. We've got our egg yolks, 6 egg yolks, and a half a cup of sugar, 3 ounces of sugar, blended well, okay? We're gonna go over here. We've got our heavy cream, okay? See, that's just to boiling, okay? Now, if I were to take this and throw it into there, we'd have a scrambled egg mess. What we have to do is called tempering, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But first things first, we need to get those vanilla beans out of there. 1/2. There's the other half, okay? So, how you temper this mixture is I'll take a ladle here and I will gradually add some of that hot cream. Slowly till that egg yolk's accepted and it doesn't turn it into a scrambled egg mess. Okay? Let's take a little doing. I can see in this liquid, in this cream, there are pods galore in there. You can see the vanilla pods, the little seeds in there, and that is just so much flavor, it's unbelievable. All right, so we keep going with that. We're almost there to where we don't have to worry anymore. It's almost at the same temp. Okay? Yeah, that's good. So now we'll take the rest of our cream, add it right there. All right. There's our vanilla bean, okay? We've sliced it long ways. We go this way, open it up. See all that? That's pods right there. That's good. That's flavor right there. So we do it again. The inside of the vanilla bean, that's all the pods. Again. Sliced them open, okay? Rinse. And again. So we've got everything out of that vanilla bean. If you want, take these, put them in some sugar, and you could make some vanilla sugar. It lends a nice flavor to just some plain old sugar. So, okay, so we take this. See these, all these pods? We're gonna mix that in there. Okay? Now we take it to the next step. All right. All right. As we're watching this show, big mistake. The vanilla bean is called the vanilla pod, and I think 10 times when I'm making it, I'm scraping out the vanilla. What I'm getting out of there are the seeds, and every time I scrape the seeds out, I'm saying pods. And every time I look at that, I cringe. You know, I failed my cooking class because of saying pods instead of seeds. So, yeah, a vanilla bean, you could also call it a vanilla pod. Okay. But inside is where all the flavor is, and those are the seeds. Right. So,
and the key is the seeds are the flavor.
The seeds are the flavor. Wow. Just a little FYI, and I stand corrected by the pod thing. We've got our mixture all good here. We've got 6 ramekins, and I've got some boiling water that we're going to cook them in. Once again, it's like a jacuzzi for the creme brulee, just so it doesn't cook too fast. Okay. These are going to cook in a 350 degree oven, 20 minutes to a half hour, something like that. Okay. Now the thing with creme brulee is I couldn't serve that tonight for dinner if I wanted to. They've got to sit overnight. And but lucky enough, I made some last night, so we have dessert for tonight. You see the bottom of this bowl? Can you see those vanilla beans? Just looks like little pieces of dirt or something like that, but it's flavor galore right there. Okay, so all of that goes in. All right, now we're going to put that into a 350 degree oven, and that's going to cook for probably 30 minutes or so. Okay, one more tasting here. Dan, what do we got?
Yep. All right, so this next one is, I said before, beer tends to be a seasonal thing.
Yeah.
So in the wintertime, you'll get, your big full-bodied beers, your kind of winter warmer beers, like your Russian Imperial Stout, your Weizenbock, stuff like that. Stuff that's nice, thick, a little chewy, got a good sweetness to it, and most importantly, it'll keep you warm in the winter. Now we're starting to get into spring, and our spring seasonal is a hoppy Irish Red. Irish Red for St. Patty's Day.
Sure.
You've got to have your Irish Red.
Absolutely.
But this being America, we like to really bump up the ABV, and we like to hop the ever-living hell out of it. That's just what we do. So we took an Irish Red-based recipe that we came up with, and then brought it up to about 8% alcohol instead of those beers are traditionally around 5 or so. And then we added a lot of new American hops to it, a lot of West Coast hops.
All right, tell me how you gauge the alcohol content.
So the alcohol content is actually a few ways you can do it. You can, send it off to a lab, get it tested, all that. But the way we typically do it, and the easiest way we've been doing it for years, is a measurement called gravity.
Which means however many he drinks, and then he measures the buzz that he catches. No,
it's a little bit more scientific than that. So we'll use a tool called a hydrometer. A hydrometer will essentially measure the density of the liquid. So water, if you drop a hydrometer, as long as it's calibrated correctly, it'll read out as being 1.00000.
Okay.
The more sugar you have in the liquid, the denser it is, the more that number goes up. So that's how we'll measure the alcohol content.
Okay.
Alcohol is actually lighter than water. So as the sugar gets turned into beer, as it gets turned into alcohol by the yeast, the gravity of the beer will go down. So a beer like this will typically start off around 1.08, 1.09. Okay. Traditional beers are usually around the 1.05 or somewhere in that range.
Okay.
And then they'll ferment down and finish out. And so we can take the change in the number and calculate the alcohol.
It's a science.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's totally a science.
Yep.
And being a novice about beer, I had no idea the possibilities, the combinations, the science that goes into it. I mean, oh wow.
Oh, I didn't know when I was getting into this I was essentially going to have a degree in chemistry.
Yeah. Well, here's to, what's the name of this one?
This one's called Whale of the Banshee.
Whale of the Banshee. Whale of the Banshee.
Oh,
Where'd you get that? How'd you get that name?
So Sláinte.
Okay, Sláinte. Our pork chops pounded out. Okay, a nice cutlet. That's been sitting for about 20 minutes. And we've got our oil. I want to stress how key it is to have your oil really hot. So the crust, when I put this in, it's gonna seal it. It's gonna seal the juice so that it stays juicy inside, and that crust is gonna get all nice and crispy on the outside. So, okay, hot oil or crust. Okay, you want that to almost swim in there. Okay. All right. This is gonna go about 3 to 4 minutes per side. Okay, and then it's gonna really be done. And we're gonna pop it in the oven just to keep it warm, because that pork cutlet is so thin, it's gonna cook in no time at all. And what we're really looking for is the nice crisp brownness. Okay, you see how that is just like swimming in there? I mean, we're getting a crust there, a nice brown. We want a golden brown. Food's around the corner, my friends. Food around the corner. And actually with that, I'm gonna, as that's going, I'm gonna try to slip another one in there. You never want to overcrowd the pan, but it's not gonna hurt it to be right there, okay? Okay. There you go. Look at that. Golden brown. And the crust on there. Oh my goodness. Nice, right? Look at that. Tell me that doesn't look good. We're going to serve that with some German potato salad, some red cabbage, a nice dill pickle, and creme brulee for dessert. So we're going to take them out and we're going to keep them on the wire rack and let them drain. And that way you don't want that crispy bottom touching the foil. So we keep them on a rack and we can keep them warm in the oven at about 200 degrees. We'll keep them there nicely, okay? Okay. We're done there. Like I said, that pork is cut so thin and pounded so thin, that's going to cook in absolutely no time, okay? We're going to garnish that. Nice squeeze of lemon over there is a nice way to end that dish.
Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today.
Will the sights to dear old Maine shout till the rafters ring? Stand and drink a toast once again. Let every loyal Maine man sing. Then drink to all the happy hours. Drink to the careless days. Drink to Maine, our alma mater, the college of our hearts always. To the trees, to the sky, to the spring and its glorious happiness, to the youth, to the fire, to the life that is moving and calling us, to the gods, to the fates, to the rulers of men and their destiny, to the lips, to the eyes, to the girls who will love us someday. Fill the steins to dear old Maine, shout till the rafters ring. Stand and drink a toast once again, let every loyal Maine man sing. Then drink to all the happy hours, drink to the careless days. Drink to Maine, our alma mater, the college of our hearts always.
Okay, you've been with us for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we've been preparing a fine Oktoberfest feast. Joining us this evening is a good friend of mine who I've grown up with since we were little kids, Gary Andre. I've always called him Gary Andre, but it's really Andre. And you know, we've known each other since what, junior high? Yeah. Junior high at Jefferson, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason we've got Gary on Tom's table this evening is because Gary's German, and Gary likes German food. So those are the two criteria that he met to qualify for Tom's table. And once again, all right, so Gary, what we've made today, we got a German potato salad. This was my mom's old recipe that we've had for years and years. A braised red cabbage and with bacon and apples and cinnamon sticks, and of course the standard Wiener Schnitzel, the Berghoff, the Mater's, the downtown. If you've ever been in Milwaukee, you know of Mater's restaurant, which is over 100 years old, and it's a very fine German restaurant. And of course, this is what they thrive on. So.
I've been there. It's good.
Have you been to Mater's? Yeah. Oh, how about that?
I love the Reuben roll.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get you some food here. All right, there's your schnitzel. And that goes with a big hunk of lemon.
Okay.
And the Berghoff says to serve it with a big slice of pickle. So I'll let you help yourself to potato salad and red cabbage. But right now I want to say to your good health and thank you for joining us on Tom's Table. And you can't have this meal without having a beer. Okay? So I too will take some of that tenderloin. All right. You want to do the potato salad?
Some of this.
Red cabbage. I'll trade you.
Okay. Whoops.
See, and now I'm talking again. And now you saw we made 6 cutlets of pork. I told you they were $1 each. So right there we've got $6. We've got maybe $2 to make that red cabbage, and maybe $2 to make these potatoes. It was $1 for the green onions. Yeah, you're spending a little bit on the bacon. Green onions are nothing. Potatoes were nothing. Eggs are nothing. So, I mean, you're very cost conscious with this. But, you know, I could talk till I'm blue in the face, but once again, it doesn't mean nothing if it doesn't taste good. So, oh man, keep your fingers crossed. But here again, didn't you used to eat dog food?
I was just about to.
Gary said he hasn't eaten since breakfast.
Yeah, I waited to starve myself for this. That's very tasty.
All right. Crispy.
I love the flavor.
Very crispy. See what I mean about that? Panko breadcrumbs are so crispy, but in the panko state, when you buy them in the store, they're just a little bit too thick for a schnitzel. So take them and you grind them, and it makes such a difference. I mean, that is absolutely delicious. What are you going to, the red cabbage or the?
No, I'm doing the potato salad.
Potato salad?
You know, I am not a crazy German potato salad. We went on German, but this is really good.
Really? Thank you. Thank you. Well, usually anything your mom made is usually pretty good, right?
Yeah. It doesn't have German potato salad. Usually got that bitter kind of. It doesn't have that bitter taste. It's really.
And now I'm gonna try that red cabbage that
Let me try that. That was very good.
That's got flavor galore, right? I mean, you even get the apple. We braised the apple in there. You got cinnamon, you got red wine, you got chicken stock, bacon. I mean, it's all in there, you know.
That's delicious.
Thank you. All right, we have just finished our Oktoberfest meal. What'd you think?
Oh, delicious.
Yeah, yeah. Our plates were clean, right?
I went for seconds.
That's what a chef loves to hear. That's what a chef loves to hear. And now we're down to our dessert, our creme brulee. And as we were having dinner, I mentioned we were having creme brulee for dessert, and I asked Gary if he'd had it. He goes, "Yeah, you made it for me before." So Gary's one of those guys that can build anything. He's just so good with his hands. You built your own house, for gosh sakes. I mean, he's just one of those handymen, but you know, and that's what amazes me is some people you all have your gifts. Gary's is in the building stuff like that. Mine's in the kitchen. So creme brulee, our eggs, our cream, our vanilla beans. And the way you finish a creme brulee is you take brown sugar, sprinkle it on each one, okay? Pardon my fingers, but they're clean. And we put a layer of brown sugar down, okay? This is we're gonna torch these, and it's gonna give a crispy candy crust to this creme brulee. And I mean, the inside is just a really nice, rich thing, so this complements it very well, okay? So there. Take our little hand torch, Okay? And you just torch them. Put my eyes on. And this in itself, you'll be able to smell this in a minute, the burning sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're doing here is just melting that sugar on top of the custard. And it's going to crunch. When you bite through there, that's going to crunch like a piece of candy. So,
can you use a bigger torch than that on them? Or
absolutely you can. When I did my internship at Marriott, they had one of those industrial ones,
like,
you know, the big...
Like I use for plumbing.
Yeah, exactly that one. Yeah, so...
That's what I was wondering.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're right, because this is... Could you see doing 100 of these like this?
Yeah, go really fast.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Creme brulee.
All right.
Lou, here's yours. All right, here we go to dessert. You see that nice crisp...
It won't be too hot, right?
Coating on it. Nah, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yum. Yum. It crunches when you bite on it, and then you get to that rich. Isn't it just a?
You taste like the brown sugar first, and you taste the cream, like it's separate.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, man. Fine way to finish a meal.
Yeah.
So, well, I would just like to thank you guys for joining us tonight. It was a fun Oktoberfest, yeah? How about one more time with Adolf here, or Oscar, or Otto? We'll call him Otto. And you know what? I bought this in Austria, so it holds a special meaning for me. Gary, I want to thank you,
thank you
for joining us on Tom's Table. And good. And we'll see you next time, yeah? Thanks very much for being with us. Well, Lou, I think that went very well.
Went great, Tom.
We took that field trip to Urban Legends. We went there ignorant. We came out educated.
Dan was great. He taught us a lot.
Yeah, he sure did. You don't just have to have an Oktoberfest in October. This meal can be eaten any time of year. And I was excited to do it.
It was great. Everything worked out great. We got to start planning for next time.
Thanks for being with us on Tom's Table. We'll see you next time.